All right, we're back at it recording once again. For those of you taking a look on YouTube versus just the audio version, we got Tyler over here. He's got a new background around him. You at the farm or are you at the beach?
I'm down in Charleston right now.
Okay, so
yeah,
he's out on vacation. Nick's doing a little bit of driving right now. He wanted to show off the new vehicle he just got. That's why he planned on all that. I was messing with him earlier. And for those who don't know, we got my man over here, Kenneth Hamm, if you want to go with his full name, which I'm so not used to until he sent me the email. And I was like, yo, this is my boy Hamm. So we're just going to leave it at that. And
what's going on?
You know, another Chat alum, former UT mock wrestler. And
Chattanooga.
So repping that Power C for all that there. And, for those of you who don't know, my man Hamm's got it. He sends it out all the time. If you need a job, you want to do something to get into IT, because this dude's got more screens and more couches and more movies and more gaming going on than anybody I know who is getting paid to do it all. So, and he's somehow at every wrestling tournament, like at the Scuffle and all the other stuff somehow, and apparently he's working. I don't know.
Work remotely, remote tools, baby.
So, which I guess in this day and time, he is set and ready to rock for it all. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, he was ahead of Corona before we had it.
I'd like my credit that I was social distancing before it was fashionable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I fully agree with that. I also said, we've constantly joked about many different things. Like, dude, I've been using soap before it was popular. I don't know what the rest of y'all been doing. Yeah. Soap and TP. I thought those were regular staples at our household, but apparently not. I don't know what the world. No wonder the rest of the world has gone to whatever in a handbasket. People weren't using soap and took TP. So
right.
But so. Yeah, I sent out the kind of like our mini itinerary for today, kind of keeping it simple and just kind of on the fly, other than making fun of each other like we so often do. But I think Hamm today can bring us a little bit new perspective or a different perspective on the different states. We've talked about Alabama, South Carolina. Hamm is out in Tennessee, and I think one of the things we've not constantly, but talked about a lot is like, what's the state of wrestling? I know you help out with Wilson Central.
Wilson Central.
There you go.
Yes.
I got you, Hamm. Don't worry. I remember all that.
The Central was the part that was similar. I was like, it's Wilson, and then I was like, no, there's a Central. Coaches Wilson Central out there. Got a bunch of studs out there. You guys are constantly in the mix with the other names that you hear from Tennessee, like Bradley and all those guys. So enjoy seeing that. But what's the state of wrestling right now in Tennessee? Like, what's going on, not going on?
It's a whole lot of not going on. We're starting to pick up. Of course, the Cleveland area, who spearheads it all, the Chattanooga area, they're cranking it up. They've got a lot of camps going on down there. Shout out to Josh Boskin and Higher Calling Wrestling. They're doing a ton down there. Actually, a bunch of my guys are going down there to roll with them. But that seems to be. I heard also Manchester, Coffee County. They're starting to roll a little bit. So I mean, mats are starting to open up here and there, but I mean they're few and far between.
Okay. I was talking to a parent today. So Higher Calling and all that. So that's pretty much all the private sectors, right? Like when I mean by private, it's like clubs and stuff like that.
No, actually, Higher Calling is the feeder for Cleveland, who has who's won so many state titles here. They're usually the first to our second. So
yeah, but I mean, but is Higher Calling though? I know they're a feeder, but is that a club program out there, or is
it is?
Okay,
it's a feeder for Cleveland High.
Okay, so that's interesting that their whole feeder program is a club, versus like out here we have the middle schools that wrestle and stuff like that. So it's middle school and stuff like that. Yeah, so I was talking to a parent and we were talking about wrestling. I said, yeah, from my understanding, from what I've seen is, not that anybody's looking to take advantage of anything, but it's like right now where wrestling is at the private sector, meaning like where there's a club and an ability to do it that's not, on the school site per se, which I don't know if where Higher Calling or where some of the different clubs may.
You just hit it right on the head. I think Josh Boskin, another Chattanooga alum, he basically bought this property. It's got a lot of land on it, and he's wrestling in the barn, and it's got a big field where he takes them out. He's got routes for the kids to run on the property and everything else. And it's I think for the most part, TWSLA is not letting kids onto school campuses. So yeah, the private sector is the only place to go. Even I mentioned before the Coffee County Club, they're offsite. They're another one. Actually, I believe they're in a jiu-jitsu facility where they're practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing we've got down here in Alabama, where I'm taking my son to private clubs off-site are doing it. And actually, we got a kid whose dad trains UFC fighters in his jiu-jitsu gym, and he told me that next week, state of Alabama is 100%. Actually, I guess it would be this week. Alabama is 100% open for wrestling on private sites. But schools are still kind of like Hamm up there, TSSA, nothing, so no contact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how it's down here. A lot of the gyms have opened up down here, full classes. It's just you have certain guidelines each gym implements about, like, if you have these symptoms, don't come in, or if you have open sores, stuff like that. That way they can try to mitigate the spread. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, eventually, it's going to have to go back to 100%. So I think they're just going ahead and doing it now.
We're trying to crank up. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ed.
We're trying to crank up our club, but unfortunately, Tennessee has dead period, and it starts next week. But we were all set. We've got temperature guns. We're going to shoot each kid in the head as they come in, make sure no one's got a fever. That's where we were.
I got you. Did you guys see where, like, the state of Missouri is, like, completely wide open, like, starting this week? So, I mean, like, they're totally, like, getting rid of every regulation, whatever. The state's just like, forget it. We're going back to normal.
Wow. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
That is not a good idea.
No, because, like, our state, like, I mean, you guys are in the South with us over here, but, like, South Carolina and is it North Carolina that we're both, like, when they opened up everything Memorial Day weekend, it's been a couple weeks, and now we're seeing, like, our numbers are skyrocketing, and everybody's like, dude, if our numbers are going up the way they are, like, there is no chance of anything going on during school or when school reopens or any of that mess. So,
yeah,
I am very much an advocate of, like, we do need economy. People need to be working. People need to be doing things. But there's got to be some common sense about it all. I was out last night. I went and took Devin to a baseball game. And the baseball game itself was fine. I mean, because baseball is pretty much kind of spread out. I mean, there's interaction amongst the kids. But, they're just doing their thing out on the field. But what blew my mind was in the stands and everywhere else. I mean, I just went off to the side and kind of stood by myself because I didn't know these people or where they're from or what they're doing or how they're doing or not doing. But, man, it was just like it was summertime like normal, just like all over each other at a concession stand, like that 6 feet was barely 6 inches, however you want to make a joke out of that, it's kind of like, but, but, and Hamm,
had it on deck. It was on deck.
Yeah, I saw him some grin over there, so, but yeah, it was just it kind of blew my mind in that sense. It was like, no wonder the numbers have gone up. I mean, I'm not saying like everybody's got to be exactly 6 feet and this and that, but it just didn't seem like there was any like common sense. Like, let me just give some people just a little bit of breathing room, just a little bit, just some space to say that, yeah, I'm aware of it and I'm conscious of it, and we're gonna do the best that we can while we're out, but at the same time, not just completely ignore whatsoever. So it kind of blew my mind. Yeah.
The neighborhood or the community pool, whatever private pool we joined, and we kind of have laughed up there, but in there, like that, we have like people that are in the medical field, scientists, all sorts of people like that, and we've talked about exactly what you're saying, and the number, I'm going to say the number skewing, so to speak, that I found out from the scientific and medical community is kind of makes me understand why people are like, whatever, because they're like, the numbers that they're saying is may not totally be new numbers, because they'll tell you, like, if you get tested once positive and then you come back and they test you again, you test positive again, you now count twice. And so that's what the medical and the scientific community is getting frustrated about, not the people being out, but how the numbers aren't truly showing that, what's going on, along with the fact that most people, you can actually test positive for it and have no symptoms whatsoever, and actually and be just fine and not even affect you. So I think that's kind of where people are starting to kind of get more or less disenfranchised with what else happening.
Well, it's also because it's a new situation too. It's not something that we've been around a lot of, so it's a lot of trial and error. So,
Yep.
I mean, when you have that trial and error, people just kind of get tired of like, okay, so you say one thing one week and then another, it's something different. But I mean, it's not to the fault of professionals at that point. I mean, because it's a learning process for them too. It seems
Yep.
like people kind of got an unrealistic expectation for these, professionals to get years and years of knowledge about something in a matter of a few months, and it's utterly unrealistic. And people need to stop thinking that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish more people thought with
And
some
bring
common
it. Oh yeah. Well, and we can living in the South. I mean, and Hamm probably agree with this in Tennessee. I know we're kind of talking about this as a coaching group here in Alabama. It's like we're gonna play football. Come heck or high water. It's like we're playing football, and then we'll figure everything else after that. That's kind of the way it feels. At least that's the way it feels athletically here. I don't know how it feels in Tennessee and South Carolina.
So we're not allowed to get on the mats now. We can condition and we can lift. That was as of a week ago.
Yep.
But the football team is full steam. They're doing everything.
Hey, this is a perfect time to get your your lightweight guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a perfect time to get your lightweight guys. Put some muscle on them. Put them in the gym constantly.
Yeah, I mean, over here with football, like again, I was talking with the parent about it and talking about like the private sectors are doing stuff. We don't have a lot of private sector stuff here in South Carolina, minus the Cerebrus compound, aka my garage here. Getting that work in. Which somebody they were like, yeah, let's do it. So so we might get some people. I've been working on getting some more privates anyway. So if that's what it takes to get some people on the mat, that's what it's going to take. So we'll roll with that and see what's going on. But I was talking about the football thing. It's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. If you look, what's opened up at the high school? Hey, the football team. Now, granted, they're not full steam yet here. They had like 10 people out on one field. I'm like, dude, that's a full football field, and you only let 10 people out there? Like, at a certain point, you have to wonder, what was the point of that? I mean, I know you're headed toward football being open, but 10 dudes on one football field, like, that's not even the 7-on-7, flag. Like, no, I mean, just like, there's got to be a point of like, dude, that didn't even make sense. I mean, I know you're going to be the first ones to do it, but that one just did not.
I mean, because you can't even run a full offense or defense for that matter with 10 people. What is it, 11 people in the field? So, like, why put 10? Like, that's a weird number.
Like, one for every 10 yards? Like, that's, I mean, who decided that one? Like, and why? It's kind of crazy. So, but
I know in Middle Tennessee, they're going full speed. And what my argument is, I don't know how many football games you've watched, but if a guy tackles another guy to the ground, how's that different from wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's not. It's the exact same thing.
And
it's just got pads is the difference.
Well, yeah, what I said, like I said, talking with the parent, we were just like, they're pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference is the helmet and pads give an illusion of a sense of protectiveness or a layer of protectiveness. The reality of it, unless these helmets have turned into a full enclosed space helmet of some sort, there really is no difference between a double leg takedown and a tackle on the football field. Matter of fact, if you tackle somebody on the football field, there's more than two people involved within that tackle more times than not. So with wrestling, yes, we're close to close and we're one-on-one, but it's just one-on-one at least. Out there, it's even more. And people seem to think, oh, well, because they're dressed in pads and a helmet, there's that layer of security that they feel with it. I'm like, no.
Actually, well, what I've heard is actually not even that, because most people I've heard have said, yeah, well, if we're going to play football, we're going to wrestle. The biggest thing that we've heard is the fact that football, because it's outside, wrestling because it's inside, and that's how you're going to have so many people packed inside an area where you don't have good ventilation. That's been where I've heard the pushback, and I can understand that. As frustrating as it is, I'm like, that's more of an argument against us having wrestling or something with wrestling than with football. Of course, then I go, well, you better not be playing basketball either, then, because if you're not going to let us be in a wrestling
Yeah. I've got a solution for that, though.
That's why you're all poloed up today. I see how it is. We're all t-shirts. You polo. All right.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've got a
Sorry,
solution
Hamm.
here.
All right.
So like the solution with the indoor thing that you're just talking about, turn off the AC inside. I mean, it'd be very uncomfortable, but I mean, you don't have to worry about the air circulations and whatnot. And I think in my days, I think I've probably wrestled in a couple gyms where I think they didn't have the air on. In all honesty, where it's like 127 degrees in the gym, it felt like people walking around and just like sweating.
Or I'm gonna go with like maybe.
I've been in there too when it's like -4 degrees.
Yeah, I've been in some of those as well.
Or I'm gonna say like, hey, our indoor facility is socially distanced anyway because we ain't packing out our gyms yet. So we're in the South. We're not Midwest,
we're ahead of the game.
Where they're full gyms anyway for wrestling, right? So there's plenty of space for us.
That's probably better.
Yeah, I think really with our sport though, will also be time of year that we are. Football's outdoors and other things like that. But we're going to be in that wintertime season when they think things might get bad again. So I think us, it's a timing thing.
So that's an interesting question. So if that's if something happens again and we have another outbreak and say, I guess like the NCAA wrestling tournament, if we have to have another instance where that gets canceled, I mean, I hate that for some guys, specifically Spencer Lee. I mean, we talk about how it was an absolute travesty that, he's lost out on the chance to be a four-timer. I mean, just imagine if he only gets to come out with 2 national championships instead of 3 just because a virus shut down the second half of the season this year as well.
What's going to be interesting, I think, is how many – I've talked to business owners, and I know this is different, but I think it does tie in because you have heard some rumblings from universities and athletic programs who are saying, we're not doing this again. I mean, I've straight up had business owners say, I can't shut down again. I'm not. But you started seeing some colleges and even the Power Fives have started to, kind of when the NCAA has sort of said, oh, we want to do this, the Power Five conferences have said, well, we're going to do something different in the NCAA caves. So the dollar universities have lost. I think that'll play a big role as to if something goes on, along with the number skewing, so to speak, that you've begun to see.
I'm smashing the panic button over here simply because from 2011 to 2020, we have taken second place at the state tournament 7 times. 7 second place trophies. This will be in 2021. We will field probably the best team we have had since 2015 to challenge Cleveland High School for the state title. And I'm smashing the panic button. This is just the perfect mesh of lower classmen, upperclassmen together. Yeah. There's no holes in our lineup. And we're ready to challenge, and now we have a global pandemic. So,
it's great.
Yeah, it is great.
2 things on that. Like one, I believe Spencer Lee is one of them, but like there are a number of NCAA athletes right now that they're not suing for, but the year of eligibility is kind of like in a special court litigation thing right now. It's an individual basis. It's not NCAA made the announcement they're not granting an extra year as a whole, but there are cases that people are able to. They are seeing, like Spencer Lee may go for it. There are a handful of seniors who were going to graduate that still have can go to school for another year that are willing to apply for it. So right now, from my understanding, is there are a large number of athletes who are vying for that year of eligibility back for them.
Here's another curveball. So there's no Olympics in 2020. It's been postponed to 2021. Mm-hmm. All of those guys who took Olympic red shirts last year, they're supposed to be coming back for 2021. However, now the Olympics is pushed to 2021. So what are we doing?
Yeah, what are they doing? From my understanding, a lot of them have just said that they're going to wrestle. So they're like, well, they're not going to take another Olympic one. They're all going to just, I think everybody's just kind of on the aspect of like, I'm going to wrestle where I can wrestle and when I can wrestle. And I'm not going to worry about a red shirt right now if I don't use it. So like everybody wants to be on the mat, which is kind of cool in and of itself.
It's going to be insane.
It is. I do think that they're going to find a way to do, and this doesn't help Hamm any at all with his panic, but I do think they're going to find a way to do college NCAA wrestling, like whether like we had Kyle Rochelle on, he was talking about like them talking about starting the season later, like doing the January start. Whatever they have, I think colleges will have the season. I think there will be an NCAA's next year. Unfortunately, high schools and us, we're always like a year behind on that trickle-down effect of being able to do it, and I hate it.
Well, and it's the whole liability thing because we have people's kids who they still have full control over.
Yep.
However, there's still football.
Yeah, but
there's no doubt. We will be playing football in the South.
Yeah. And, the actual discussion I also had today, too, which is something that I don't think makes sense to a lot of people, but wrestlers, if nothing else, are more ready to handle this pandemic, like the whole cleanliness and things like that. Because let's look at it this way. Somebody shows up with a ring room to practice. Can they practice? No, we're all like, everybody in the room's like, you ain't practicing. I ain't getting ring room. You covering that? You don't, And the first thing everybody's got to do, we all talk about cleanliness. Everybody's got to get to hit showers. Like wrestlers as a group, we understand what it means for hygiene. We understand what it means that if I don't feel well, it's selfish of me to get everybody else on my team sick before a tournament or something else of that nature, and it's better for me to sit out. So we understand the quarantining part of it and all that, and like not being able to do something. And I think, if anything, we get it better. And also we know, like when you go to tournaments or when you go to camps, to bring extra shirts so you have clean clothes and all that kind of stuff. Football and everything else. How many programs are thoroughly sanitizing all those pads and helmets and everything between multiple times a day practices or even a daily practice from one practice to the next practice?
Yeah. Have you ever stepped into a high school football locker room? Yeah, I think that's
what I was about to say.
Right, I was
about to say, terrible. Tyler, in the 5 schools I've been at, and I'm only in my second year at Chelsea now, every program I've been at has come to the wrestling program during the season at least once and said, hey, we've got ringworm, we've got staff breakdown. Can we use your disinfectant to clean our stuff? Because we know you guys take care of it. But then they'll turn around later on and go, wrestling's a nasty sport. So,
and we're the ones that have all this stuff. No, we know how to stop the spread of things. I mean, that's just what we do. So
I'll give you one better. I don't know how many of you other coaches have CDLs, but I have a CDL and I'm a driver. Have you guys smelled the football team after a game when they pile onto the bus?
I am glad.
Yeah, because I drive them too. I drive the middle school right now as extra supplement. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, like our district.
Also, so how are we going to travel as football teams? Because I'm driving bus. I've got 3 guys per seat.
There's from what I've heard, at least I know it's been talked around this area. I was talking to a classmate of mine. She plays basketball at Upstate. They were telling me apparently what it's looking like they're going to do is there's going to be like a radius of schools that you're allowed to go to, and it's more than likely going to be within conference. It's probably going to be in state as well, and it's past that. Schedules look different, especially for high school. I mean, you may not be able to go past 45 minutes of your school. I bet. Yeah.
Smashing the panic button again. Smashing the panic button. I live in Middle Tennessee. I need to see my Chattanooga schools before the state tournament.
Yeah.
One of our things we go is Powdersville every year.
Yeah, we travel as much as we can. But like you're talking about driving those buses, right? Like, and they're talking about you got them 3 to a seat. Are they going to spend more money? They will because it's football. But in everything else in education, we're all on like hiring freezes, pay freezes, and everything
Absolutely.
else. But you're going to tell me that you have the ability to get 3 extra buses and pay for all of that to travel because you need to separate.
And I'll tell you how that works. They'll say, oh well, the booster club pays for it, and that's what they'll do. That'll be the out. That's always the football out. Is booster club picks up that you want to have your booster club do it. Yeah. So
that's the issue. No, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, think about traveling with the football team. Like, you got cheerleaders, you got like the band, you got all those people. Are they still going to let all them go too?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
so, or is
See,
it,
what gets me is like we can't even get a bus to arrive on time, and then half the time we can't even get a bus that works properly. Like when we went down to Lexington for our state tournament that one year, you remember where the heat
when
was
we were
broken?
freezing?
We were freezing. You had you had two parties, one in the front and one in the back, all like hovered up.
Social distancing would have been out because we were huddled up for body heat, okay? Like,
Yeah, it was terrible.
so,
I mean, but
yeah.
football
Yeah.
have to deal with that.
I don't know. I'll say this. I mean, our state's kind of every week we get a weekly update from our executive over our athletics. And I know right now, not just with football, but with all, I think Alabama's working with, I don't think it's Tennessee, Hamm, which I know wrestling wise, we keep telling them to work with Tennessee, but they say they do and they never do. But they're working with Georgia, Florida. Those four states are trying. It seems like they're trying to work together because they understand that we have a lot of programs that cross borders and play sports over there to try to kind of be in line with them. So I kind of I know wrestling because we actually want to come back to Father Wrestling. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
By the way, is that new truck you got, Nick?
Yeah, this is that new truck I got. Got to drop the kids off. So I'm cruising through downtown Birmingham, UAB.
I think all probably like all the interstate travel stuff is going to be done. So that, I mean, I didn't think about it, but that Super 32 and all that kind of stuff, like I'm guessing that's out this year. Like,
You know what? Actually, from what I understand, they rescheduled Virginia Beach. I don't know if it's been canceled, and I don't know if it's individuals or duels, but one of them had been rescheduled.
huh.
So there's an interesting aspect that I wonder if they're gonna like. I don't know if y'all are UFC fans, but have y'all been seeing what
I don't remember when they
UFC's been doing
rescheduled it, but yeah, it's like August.
Bro, were you saying the UFC?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting like a lag here. I apologize. My internet connection's bad, so I don't know if I was like talking. But yeah, no, it's saying the UFC, they have what they call a UFC Apex, and they also have that Fight Island, which is going to be cool. But the UFC Apex is a building that's specifically for the UFC, and it's made for these events where everything's enforced. Like, you have the distancing, you have an interview area. I wonder if we're going to see like stuff like that. There's no fans either, but I wonder if you're going to see stuff like that for wrestling tournaments coming up in the fall. That if you're going to have the competitors, you're going to have a couple refs, scorekeepers, and then maybe a place for the wrestlers to kind of hang out after they've been tested and make sure everyone's good. Like professional wrestling wise, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. All Elite Wrestling, what they've been doing is they have these tests they go through, and they have to do their temperature tests and they have to do blood tests and all that. And what they do is they'll get bracelets to indicate like no fever, didn't test positive for this, and then that way they're allowed within the certain areas. And I wonder if you're going to see that with wrestling. Like, you're going to have people have to come in, get their temperature taken, have a test maybe a day or so before, and then, I mean,
I don't think you won't see that at the high school level just due to the cost. You don't want to put extra cost on the kids.
yeah.
I'll say this with the UFC, like I said, the place where the guy that owns the gym who does the UFC, I mean, he had a guy, heavyweight that just fought, big black guy. What's his name, Tyler?
Ken Hammonds.
No, I was just saying there's lots of them, man. I mean, there's a lot of big black guys in the heavyweight division right now.
Anyway, I know that doesn't. I know. Anyway,
And Ken put his face, and Ken has photoshopped his face on all of them too. Just
That's right. Hamm just did it. Ken Hamm. No, but anyway, like I said, he just had two, like, not this past one, but like I think it was the UFC right before the one that they just had. I mean, he had two guys fight in the main event, and he said basically everything you're seeing is for optics right now. He goes, all the masks. He said, yeah, I had to get tested, I did all that stuff. He goes, but as they basically realized pretty quickly, they weren't going to throw a fighter out because the corner people weren't wearing masks because you weren't doing social distance. He was like, so pretty much you did all that stuff for the camera purposes, but it was pretty much normal except for the fact that there was no fans, he said, which absolutely sucked. Because he said
love it.
as soon as they got into the cage, they threw everything off. Masks were gone, everything were gone.
Well, see, I don't think I think with them being tested, if you've tested negative, I mean, at that point, why keep wearing that mask anyway? So I mean, if everyone in and all that have tested negative, everyone's negative, therefore you don't be as social distance. So it's a little understandable. I mean, and then as far as the fans go, I kind of like it without the fans because you can hear a lot more. Like you can hear the coaches better. You can hear them yelling certain things. Like you'll hear like little weird fight lingo that you don't get to hear. You'll hear body shots a little bit better. You'll hear fighters breathing heavier, and it's actually funny. Couple of fighters, they can hear the announcers.
Yeah, I've got friends that are fighting, and they absolutely love it. They can hear everything.
Oh yeah, I do too. They
can hear Rogan. They can hear their coaches. They can hear everything.
Yeah.
There was I forgot who
Walt
it was.
Harris is his name. Walt Harris. That's
Walt
the guy.
Harris. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a popular one. Man, that's terrible what happened to his daughter too. But he's the one his daughter got murdered last year.
Yeah.
But no, like the thing about the UFC, it's interesting. I mean, you get to I forget who it was, but DC said something a little too loud. And you actually saw one of the fighters correct his game to what DC was saying. And he's like, maybe I need to kind of quiet my voice here.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
I think that's cool that they can hear all that. And, like, I think some would love it. But at the same time, though, man, there's a part of sports that is severely missing without the crowds. I mean, just imagine, like, I know Hamm. Like, so I'm going to try to get Hamm some positive, good luck stuff, So he's out there. They're coaching at the state tournament, and his guys are rocking it out though, and it comes down to like one match between two guys, and sometimes hearing that crowd, hearing your mama in the stands, hearing your friends yelling, like you're tired, like that a little bit, gets some people up, like,
if anyone heard the things that I say in the wrestling room or during a match, I would no longer have a job.
And there's that, maybe having some of that ruffled by the crowd is a good thing, or okay, look, since we're already right there with it, like how many times have you leaned over and said something to the assistant coach or the other coach or somebody, and if they could hear, like, be like, man, blah, 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 blah.
Just imagine how many.
Wait, everybody heard that?
just how many refs would throw us out if they could hear half the stuff we said to each other during these tournaments. I mean, like,
we got this guy again. Oh wait, you heard that? I meant like that in a good way. I love having you initiate our matches.
Hey, they wouldn't have an excuse not to hear us call stalling either, right from the side.
What about some of those conversations at the table when you take the ref to the table?
Oh yeah, hey, that would be good for me, Purdy, because we like to instigate there and get closer, so we could stand back a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't have to.
Yeah, that would be really bad whenever
the coaches out there. Like, I'd love to be at a tournament with Hamm. Hamm to, like. That's what we do, so I wouldn't have to sneak up to the match to hear anymore. So
you can't walk up to the table anymore and go, "Hey, I really agree with that call, but I gotta call you this table to make my parents feel good." But, that was the right. I'm telling you right now, that was the right call. I don't care what you say, but send me to the table, give me a warning. All right, coach, good job.
Yep. Yeah, all the little whispers would no longer be whispers and everything else. So, that would be entertaining and horrible all at the same time.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I would wonder how many people at our the Carolina Invitational last year would have got thrown out. I mean, how many unsportsmanlike was? Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was 3 or 4 people from our area got hit with it. Like,
all of us got hit with it. Ugh. So.
Yeah, no, you got me hit with it. I didn't even do anything.
I was maybe like, just a little bit. I eventually told him that was me that said that.
I know. But he gave it to me, and I'm sitting here. I'm like on the. I'm like, it wasn't me who did this. I'm not the one who was out there. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes, I got hit with it, and I walked away, and then they thought you said it, but it was just me. So,
hey, Tyler, just remember, it may go on you, but it always goes to the head coach. So you can pile them up all you want to. It always goes to Purdy's bill. So you can actually get Purdy thrown out when you want to.
As an
Unless I get
assistant
ejected,
coach,
if I get ejected, we have to we can't coach for a full calendar year, and I couldn't go a full
wow,
calendar year without wrestling.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That head coach, the penalty goes on the head coach. That was the greatest discovery I ever had as an assistant coach.
Our head coach this year looked at me, and I said, hey, I've actually technically never gotten misconduct. I said I should have, but I know the officials so well. And he was like, and of course he called bullcrap. But I said I hadn't. And then one of our kids got absolutely hosed, and I looked at him and I said, you're about to get unsportsmanlike. And I went out there and just laid into this poor young child at state qualifying tournament. The sad thing was one of the older officials that I know really well walked out before I did and put his hand over his mouth, which basically meant he's telling him, you're about to get your ass chewed, and you got to take this like a man because you were wrong. So I still don't have an unsportsmanlike yet. So but that was
awesome.
kind of funny because when the old ref turned around and he winked at me, he just kind of gave me the wink like, all right, your turn, go get him.
I 100%. I supported Coach Purdy's misconduct though, because that was pretty bad. That was for the safety of one of our guys. So
Yeah.
I kind of.
I mean, that's about it when I get hit with it, I guess. I hope. I don't know. I don't like it.
But Hamm's right. Remember that, Tyler. It always goes to the head coach. They may hit you with it, but it goes to the head coach.
Minus that last tournament where they do hit you for a year. Like, they've got some different rules for different places. So.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
All right, so other
suspended for one last thing. If you got suspended for a year in Tennessee, that probably would cool me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would here too. But
yeah. All right, so other wrestling news. I saw Jo tweeted out, and it got put on Instagram, that him and Nolf are going to go at it, and then him and Ashnall. And I was like, just as somebody who's missing wrestling so much, I was like, one, I like both those matchups. Two, I'm like, we've talked about it before. I wish we would see our senior guys and freestyle guys just wrestle more. We understand that they don't because this is now their livelihood, and like if they get hurt, they can be out a calendar year or something like that. But man, I think seeing Jo say, who do you want to see a super match with, and then not just having one but two, like set up like
I'm all for it.
One's on Flow, one's on like FIFO TV or Fire TV. I got to look up the thing on it or whichever. So. And find out what it is, because that's the one against him and Nolf. So I'm like,
Nolf Jo is on Fight TV, and and Jo and Ashnall will be on Flow.
So.
Hamm's got his 18 screens up, so he's got it all. Whatever we want.
Yeah. Ham's already sent in drones to get into the back room and get his own offshoot live broadcast like from work. He's gonna tell his wife like, I got to work late tonight, and she's like, but you can work from home right now. This is different. And
and like game day has Bear over there on the side with all his screens. Hamm is our Bear for Sarah. That's what it is. Ham's got to become a weekly part of this with all his screens, so he can dig up the dirt and take care.
It's what I do, man. It's what I do.
But I think that's really cool to see, like, some guys like go ahead and be like, hey, we're gonna wrestle. If we can wrestle, we're gonna wrestle.
Hey, how ballsy of Jo for the call out though, man.
Yeah.
That's Jo though. Just his style, that's him though.
Yeah, that's I'm all for it. Who do y'all got in the Jo Nolf match? Who would y'all pick?
Scramble.
Jo's got the experience, man.
I'm gonna roll with Jo. I mean, even though haven't those two wrestled a couple times in a 1-on-1, or I can't remember, but like,
yeah, I'm not certain off the top of my head. I'd say if you give Nolf another year or two, I give it to Nolf. But I think just like Nick said, with the experience, I'm gonna give it to Jo right now. But
I think Ashnall will actually be a tougher freestyle match for Jo than Nolf.
Really?
Will. Yeah, just because I think Ashnall holds more solid positioning. Might be tougher to score on than Nolf. So that's just kind of just looking at the two styles. That's just my take.
Yeah. I did like last time we got to see Jo wrestle. Like they were talking about like him waiting sometimes and like how he came through and just like was bull rushing everybody, running through them, not just scrambling, but like double straight through them to laces to everything. I love watching him wrestle.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wish more of the guys would do it, just to get it out there and just see them scrap and see them get after it. There was something else I was going to say. Speaking of like Nolf and those guys, what about there's been all the news, like we had, not all the news, but we've seen a lot of people go to the Nittany Lion Club. Well, it started with Snyder, then Gilman, and did you guys see who left the Nittany Lion Club?
Yes. You're talking Hall, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. So, like everything with Penn State has always been like them bringing guys in and them not just getting blue collar athletes or blue chip athletes, but bringing in blue chip athletes and the guys that might not quite be blue chip athletes, but making them into what would be blue chip athletes. And Mark Hall was one of those guys that they brought in, and he was big time to Penn State. And, you just kind of figured he would be there. Like it's like his name and face is kind of like DT. You kind of just associate with Penn State. And then not only him leaving, but he didn't go very far. He went to, it was just a Penn,
just a Penn.
Yeah. So, now part of it, I heard the reason why, and I get it with the, didn't he win one of the worlds with Brandon Slay in his corner, as the freestyle coach. So
yeah, as a kid.
Yeah, he
actually,
did. Yeah.
There's also a rumor that he was trying to get away from someone in the Penn State room. I can't tell you who.
It's me. He was trying to get away from me.
Yeah. That, and, my phone just dinged, it's a day late. Like the college is supposed to be reaching out. I got that other year of eligibility. Like it's the first day they were able to reach out. So don't, that's probably Kale right now trying to get me to fill Mark Hall's spot right now for a year. Just throwing that out there. Look, Nick even took his eyes off the road.
I was checking the mirror. That's what I was doing. I was looking over.
Yeah.
Who do you think he's trying to get out of the room with? You think it's Gilman? You think Gilman's cracked me off?
I don't know.
They can't be the same. Him and Gilman can't be the same weight class.
No, they're definitely not. But Gilman's crazy. I'm saying that maybe Mark Hall's scared of him. Is what I'm saying. Like just hearing how Gilman talks.
Everybody from heavyweight on down in that room right now. He's in there yelling at Snyder. And
man, I don't like this guy. He's crazy.
Oh man. Where's he going to fall? I mean,
what is his weight class?
I say, would he and Nickel be in the same weight class?
No,
I mean, Nickel's in Texas right now, but
I thought they were 70 and 74.
Yeah,
there's only 74 is the only one now, though.
Yeah, that's right.
For the Olympic year, so.
Yeah, I think Oliver's a 65. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think Oliver's a 65. I think Nolf is supposed to go to 70.
Yeah. So, but I am curious as to who. I don't want to say who he'd be running from because he's not. I don't see any of those guys at that level as like runners from anybody. But like, who is he just not wanting to? Because we're seeing more of a not a run situation, but more of a I don't want this guy getting any more looks at me and wrestling me at a daily thing.
I'll be honest. So, I don't know if it's him running. Like I know you say running, but I don't think it's that. I think maybe it's just someone he might have a disagreement with or something. Could be that. Like,
actually, you know who also is at 65 for Nittany Lions is Zane.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So
that's another one,
yeah. So that's interesting. I like it in the sense of I like seeing some of these top guys get spread out a little bit. So it's not just everybody's from Nittany Lion Club or the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. So I kind of like the move of seeing people spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I am curious as to when he wrestles in a tournament, who do we see him wrestle against that's now with Nittany Lion on it instead of, that maybe he wasn't wanting to wrestle with in the room every day or, even just, because sometimes just practicing in the room, like these guys are looking at world medals and Olympic medals and stuff like that. You don't want to be practicing with those guys. Oh, and that was the other thing. It's not only Penn State. I just recently heard somebody was talking about it. I think it was Jordan Burroughs talking about how Penn State's room, it's one of it. I think it was an older thing when he was talking about Chamizo. It's not just people like Chamizo who he's Cuban, wrestles for Italy, but like lives in America and trains at some of the different RTCs. But like Penn State has got a few guys that they bring in from overseas that would be, competitors to these guys at some of these weights. So it could even be somebody that's not domestic. It could be an international dude that he's not wanting to wrestle with anymore.
Sure.
Burroughs has been pretty, and I understand his reason for being adamant about it. Why are we bringing in guys to train with us? Which I get, like for a camp situation, training and learning. But why are they bringing in people that are potentially stopping us from achieving our goal of maybe medaling at Worlds or something else?
Yeah.
And I get his argument there. I get why him and Chamizo don't want to use the word bad blood because that's him and Dake's thing right now, according to that Flow film. But but he's not cool with that, and he's looking out for himself and for America and all that. So,
you know what though? If you're Jordan Burroughs, how do you escape people trying to get looks at you? I mean, everybody's trying to knock you off. If you're Jordan, I mean, how do you escape that?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know.
From the RTC South.
Yeah, couldn't bring RTC South. Nobody there yet.
That'd be good for RTC South. Hey, Kyle.
Kyle, we got to figure it out. Just bring Burroughs in. You're good, okay?
All right.
We'll call him up, all right? We're going to get him next up on the show and be like, you need to come on out. James Green already left Nebraska too, so come on out. All right, so
bring Brian Snyder with you. You got to bring Brian Snyder with them. That'll be good. Everything will be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. All right. Just because it was just also recently out, Dake or Burroughs? Nobody likes the question, but
I'll jump out there. Until he's beat, I'm still Burroughs. Kel and I had this talk. I'm like, until he is beat, and I think until he gets beaten by Dake, I'm going Burroughs.
Absolutely. So, I every single time I've counted Burroughs out, he comes back like a phoenix.
Oh man, it's
and I'll throw another one in there for you. I would not be surprised if one of them, I'm not saying which one, I would not be surprised if one of them does not make the finals.
True.
Just with how stacked 74 is.
True.
Yeah, 74 is completely stacked. And that was another talk we had, like, without trying to disrespect everybody else in there. But, like, I mean, heck, one of the top guys that I think is possibly could do it, I think, is Imar. Like, I mean, he's out there. And, again, many names that could. But, like, just watching how Imar's wrestled against those guys. And Imar didn't look – I mean, one of the matches I think he got blitzed out pretty bad by Burroughs. But another one, he looked like he was in it. So –
Imar, Valencia. There's one more that I just can't think of. There's like, I don't know, there's like 3 or 4 guys that
Derringer, did he go up or did he stay? So I don't know. Just to be different, I guess I'm gonna go Dake. Earlier on, I was Dake, especially after the recency of like how he ran through Worlds. I was like, man, it's got to be Dake's time and his training and stuff. But then you look at all the stuff that Burroughs does, and it still makes you – and I always go back to that Christopher Walken speech video when he's like, that old lion just has to go through and tear him up and let him know he's that lion again. And I'm like, okay. It's Dake with the caveat that, Burroughs is still that lion.
Okay, wait. So here's another one. And, I mean, again, they said it in the Flow film. But, again, Dake's got to go through the gauntlet. Jordan doesn't.
And I get Dake's frustration with that. Like, I mean, I don't think it's a whining point. I think it's a legitimacy point.
It is. It's legit. Can you imagine having to go through all that in one day and then, hey, at 7 o'clock, you got to take on the world champ?
Jeez. And those matches that he had to get there, too, like, each time it was something completely different. Like, and, so, like, you're right. Imagine a fresh Dake not having gone through that.
You know what? If it's a fresh Dake, we have a whole other set of problems, and we have a whole total different conversation. But I mean, think about going through that grind of that tournament, and then by the way, at 7 o'clock, you got to take on the champ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not going to. I do see that. Then you also look at what the Russian national team has to do just to make it, and the fact that it's no big deal over there for the reigning world champ to not make an Olympic or a world team the next year, because of how deep they are. So I'm actually kind of glad that the U.S. is finally getting to that level where we could have a world champ get beat and not be on it. So, I mean, it actually shows where we are, in my opinion, as the growth of all this RTCs and everything else has taken place.
Oh, I mean, we've said it for years now. Like, what would it have been like if we had if we didn't have that bottleneck over there of DT, Dake, and Jordan Burroughs? Like, those three guys that could have won it each year. Imagine if there were more weights and they were spread out.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're not Russia too, because if they really wanted the other guys, somebody might just have an accident.
Here's one for you. We've talked about the depth at the weight class. So if Dake won his argument and somehow, some way had talked JB into entering the tournament, will we see the JB Dake final? Do you think they both could pull through?
That would be like if we got set up like on opposite ends of the bracket.
Yes.
And then run through. Man, would that
would be amazing.
I'm just like so excited with the thought of like just that. Like, even though it's not happening, I'm just like getting like, when is that happening? I want to watch that, If
that would happen, I may be the one guy in the crew. I mean, really, just look at JB.
The odds of both of them making it through that tournament, like, is so, because of like that depth that we just talked about with all those other guys. It would make for an amazing finals if they both were able to do it. But the odds of that happening in a wrestling world of and especially.
Anything.
And especially because now you have the added caveat of those guys that are good, the Valencias, the Aymars, and those other guys, knowing that both are in the pool with them. Like, you're telling me they're not actually a little more ready to go now too? Like, we can knock these guys off early, and we can, man, just imagine the energy and feel in that room, in that tournament. I mean, you want to talk about electric, like, oh my God, like that would be.
That would be just, you could cut the tension with a knife. That would be.
Dake's made the challenge. Dake's like, hey, rescind it, jump in the tournament.
I love it. If you don't think it's a big deal, then just not do it then.
Yeah.
But you did say Jordan is the old lion. The old lion knows the tricks. The old lion's like, all right, youngin, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of us ex-guys, we're old dogs now. Can you imagine having to go through an entire tournament right now? I mean, I don't know about you guys. I still roll at every practice. I can't wrestle in a tournament right now. I couldn't do it.
Hey, not unless we established, like some of us have talked about, like starting our own league, the Old Man Rules League, without those special rules.
I mean,
that's what Jordan said. That's what Jordan is saying. The old man rule is I get to sit out. So he's keeping the old man card. With Jordan Burroughs, we got you, man. We got your back.
I mean, how far do I have to go in the tournament? I mean, I could do it like if I don't have to go all the way through. I mean, I could probably do it. But, like,
you got to wrestle a pigtail, man.
I can enter any tournament. How far I'm making it, that's way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull the 5-match rule. I'm like, nah, I've wrestled 5. I'm good.
They're like 5-match rule. That's the pigtail. Like, you warmed up for 5 minutes. That's enough.
Good. I'm good.
Now you guys know that pigtail's gonna be that stud kid that nobody knows about that's gonna walk out and be like, no, that's not. No, I want the roly poly over there. I want the real pigtail.
That pigtail's that JoJo Smith and Marinelli.
That was nasty.
Okay, you can tell I'm going through serious withdrawals of not having had NCAAs if I'm bringing that up.
I was going to raise it because you brought up the tough situation of Kyle Dake and Jordan Burroughs. What about? I mean, we could talk about Jaden Cox and Kyle Snyder.
Yeah,
yes.
That matchup. Who do you got for that? I mean,
is that
all right? I'll jump out again since Ed still hadn't. Well, Tyler, I don't know who you guys went with on the other one, so I'm going Cox. I'm going Cox on that one.
I'm with you, Nick. I got to go Cox on that one.
Yeah, we've talked about it. The way the alien is going to start sweating, and Cox is. There's something about him that to me was the scarier. Wonder where he's going. Like, we all wondered whether Dake was going to go up or down. I think we maybe all kind of knew he wanted that Burrow shot too, because I think he's hungry for it. But there was a fear factor of his moving, like there was with thinking about Cox either going down to DT or going up to Snyder. I think either way you moved, everybody was kind of like, wow, who's gonna get Cox? Like that sounds weird,
Who's getting that mess right there?
yeah.
I mean,
And I think
who wants that smoke?
yeah,
I'll tell you what, though. I really still feel as though Jaden is still a hard riddle. And I think, we've got some answers when it comes to Snyder. That we've found a couple of holes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially against I can never pronounce his name.
Yeah,
Sajalayev.
that guy.
Sajalayev, yeah. I can never pronounce his name right the first time, but yeah, I mean, he's been exposed by him multiple times.
Yeah.
I also think that with him, I lost it. Like him moving up there, it's just. Oh no, this is what I was gonna say. We've had holes exposed on him, but I wonder what the move to the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club might possibly fix. Like, are we discounting? Like, he made a conscious choice to leave the Ohio State Wrestling Club and where he was and everything that they've done there for him to know that he said he felt like to get better. So, are those holes possibly fixed? Like, what's going on in that room that like does that change anything thinking about like if those holes got fixed, are we still all as like
I'm still Cox.
I am until I see it, but I'm just saying he made that choice to move for a reason, and I don't think these guys are making these moves based off of like money alone as far as like hey, they're going for where they want to
and Sajalayev has been so dominant, not just because of his strength and power, but his athleticism, which in freestyle has begun to give Snyder trouble. And we, like you said, we know what the alien is. He's a freak. And the athleticism he brings. And I'll say this selfishly, I want to see Sajalayev and Cox go at it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see those two freaks of nature just go at it for an Olympic medal.
My only thing.
I don't know if y'all. I was gonna say I don't know if y'all caught on, but I have strategically tried to dodge the question on both challenges because I
heard you. I got you.
I don't know who I got between Dake and JB, and I don't know who I'd have for Cox and Snyder.
But
although I mean, I'm leaning more
playing the political game, so when we do get in contact with these guys, he can be like, "See, I was the one that didn't vote against you,"
I didn't
and then we're like, "But you didn't vote for him either." So
that's right.
You didn't vote for
I have no problem. I'll man up. I went against you.
Again, I'm going to play the Ken Hammonds method. It's like in my wrestling room, I always say that's my favorite wrestler. When the true answer is my favorite wrestler is whoever I'm speaking with at that moment, right there. That's my favorite kid.
Who do we got?
Right, so,
Here we go. Yeah.
All right, so we're going up. What about? All right, so I'm a light guy, so let's throw the light guys in. What's happening at 55? Is Spencer Lee going to end up running through it, or we're going to have somebody else?
I don't know. I wouldn't say running through it, but that's a tough one.
He went through the Open during
that he did,
season.
yeah. But
he did, but again, that's a whole nother year of training for everybody. I mean, so you got Lee, Gilman, Fix.
I mean, you also have to imagine the chip on his shoulder that he has.
What weight is Siriano going to go if he decides to go?
God, yeah.
That weight is another bracket / tournament. I just want to see who comes out on the other side.
It's going to be insane.
It's going to be so much fun to watch and so much to see.
We'll have to do a watch party.
Yeah,
when that happens.
Yeah.
Before we finish off that, my only disappointment was like there was still a part of me that just because of the storyline, I still wanted to see DT and Cox go at it one more time because like there was that little bit of like they were getting words with each other and like yeah, I mean heck,
let's all say a little bit. That's bad blood.
Yeah, they didn't like each other for a good little bit there, and there was legitimate like you took my spot and and I wanted to see that one more time. Heck, maybe if doesn't even have to be for a spot. I just want to see them go after it one more time.
Okay. Personal feelings aside, the last match between Cox and Dake Cox and Dake. Do you feel as though Dake got the hose? I totally feel like he got the hose in that match.
Dude, like, yes and no. I mean, the reason why I say no is like it's not like he.
I'm
Yeah, no, he
sorry.
did
I'm
because
sorry. I'm sorry. I said Dick. I meant Taylor. Yeah, I'm sure you guys
I
probably
wasn't
knew.
going to point it
Yeah,
out.
we
I
just
wasn't pointing it out.
yeah.
I was like,
I mean,
cool.
when you're sliding around that much and just kind of like being able to do it, like that's got to be the passivity, something like you're not. But at the same time, though, like I don't know, what do you do? Like call like an official timeout and say towel off? Like I don't know, but man, he
I mean, you've seen them do it. If you watch international, they used to see
Yeah.
them like
Yeah.
they would stop it and make them dry them off.
they needed to do something there, but also at the same time, though, like if you're Cox, do you do anything differently? Because his knee was hurt, like
Yeah.
so he is milking an injury. He's just trying to survive. If he was your guy in the corner, would you have told him to do anything different?
Oh man,
No.
I'm yelling if I'm in either corner. I'm
Yeah.
going ballistic.
I've got a problem
so,
if I'm on, depending on whose side I'm going to find a problem with the scenario. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
you
So,
can't control sweat.
While I do
Sweat.
think yes, like it probably there was a little bit of hosage there, dude. I don't fault Cox in any way. I don't think the hosiery is anything that like he did wrong. Like yeah, I mean,
Right.
so
Yeah.
but
Now,
Okay. Here's another one. If they stop that one, they stop everything, stop the clock, they make him towel off. Does Cox get hosed in that scenario?
Oh yeah.
because he was trying to survive. Again, I would say yes, but I wouldn't say that DT did anything wrong coming out with the win on that aspect too. Just like I think DT may have gotten hosed, yes, but Cox didn't do anything wrong. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
in one way or another, somebody got.
Yeah.
That's actually that's an interesting point. The whole sweat issue. There's this happens in jiu-jitsu tournaments a lot, like especially at the high level. Is guys will bathe in baby oil the night before, and it seeps into their pores. So when they sweat, can't grab a hold of them. And the thing is, it's common knowledge that they do it, but because of jiu-jitsu and the state that it's in, they have very like steroid testing's pretty much non-existent. That is non-existent.
Yeah, how are you going to
mean,
regulate that, dude? Are you like watching everybody the night before? Like, there's no way to like, regulate like what they're
like,
doing.
hey, I'm gonna have to watch you take a bath. Like, you have an official that has to sit there and watch him. Like, nah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But I mean, it brings an interesting question. I mean, if someone does get to a point where it's overly slippery, do you have to, or are you required to at least make it? I guess you could say fair. I mean. So
But once again, that's going to be a referee's discretion, and nobody likes referee's discretion except
Absolutely
the winner.
not. Absolutely not.
The only time you like it is when it works in your favor. So,
Yeah.
and
When you support
we've
it,
all
then
been
you're
there with
like, nah,
it.
he's
So.
good.
But all right, so does anybody think that Lee hands down comes out with it on the lower end, or
Hands
there's too
down?
much? Huh?
Do you hands down or
Hands down. Like, is anybody just hands down? Lee's got this, or
no? I say no. I think it's a really tough road to travel, and there's a real possibility that he doesn't make it all the way through. I mean,
well, does he have to go all the way through because he won?
No, he doesn't. Does he?
He gets to sit out. I mean, he won the Open.
He won
Yeah, he
is
did.
anybody else there? So, or is he the sit out guy then?
Yeah, he's a sit out guy then. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because nobody else medaled.
I'd have to look and see if he's the sit out. Then he's kind of the same way I think with Burroughs. He's just kind of chilling.
Fresh.
It's like, all right, I'm going to sit here and watch the carnage, and whatever damaged automobile gets to come face me at the end, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think whoever
but
gets
we've
that sit
also
out
seen
is sitting with the advantage. Because like it's the same thing. Like, can you imagine like Dayton Fix? Because Dayton Fix looks big for that weight. So imagine if he got to sit out, and just make weight, and sit and wait on somebody to get to him. You know.
I mean, but we've also seen Spencer Lee. Some of his problems do come from. He gets better when he warms up more. Like when he starts to wrestle more, he starts, getting better. So, I mean, that could be into his detriment as well. I mean, having to sit and then just coming straight in.
Oh, well, yeah. That's
not straight in, but you know what I mean.
At the same time, though, his best wrestling is the first two periods,
Yeah. But I'm saying, like,
so
also
he's
early.
fresh for those first two periods, which is just freestyle. So if he's fresh for it, I think that lends to his advantage.
I mean, but, like, if you, let's see, like, if you look at him in, like, Midlands and all that, usually he hits that, it's usually not in the final. Well, I think the Bresser one was in the finals that he lost to Bresser.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or it might have been semi. I can't remember.
Well, Midlands he always checks out after, game one.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, but no, I wouldn't say hands down. There's a good possibility, but it's not something I'm gonna put all my eggs in that one basket.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I can't think of a single weight class that's hands down. There's a hands down favorite at any
Heavyweight?
weight.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
I guess you could say heavy.
That's 65. So that's the next one up, right? 55.
Yeah. Yeah, 65's up.
Yeah. So is that okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's where
Yanni.
Jo. That's where Jo's been. Where's I can never say his
That's
name.
Yanni, Jo, Nolf.
It's easier to say Yanni. I was trying to say his last name.
Yeah,
Yakamahalis.
That's like Tyler trying to say Sargoosh or whatever. Say Demarcahalis. Yeah.
I tell you, all right, here's the simplest one: heavyweight Greco. Two.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Anybody
100%.
else? I mean, is Robbie Smith even going? All right. So there, we found one, but it's Greco. There we go.
Yeah,
Repping the
you
Greco.
cannot count Robbie Smith out now. Come on now.
So, but
He's a national treasure.
all right.
He is, man. He's awesome.
So speaking of Yanni, if he comes back, and things don't work out for Lee with the court litigations in the next year, is Yanni our next 4-timer?
Who's going to stop him?
Yeah, I was
That's
about
what
to
I was
say,
wondering,
man.
like, who? I mean,
Probably.
who? The guy that he transferred from Missouri to
Ironman?
Iowa.
Ironman's like his only. Is that his best competition at 41? I mean,
Ironman's got some slick cradles though.
Ironman's,
but I mean,
Ironman's no joke. But
yeah, but I mean, I don't think he provides a sufficient enough threat to Yanni.
Yeah. How much bigger does Fix get? Does Fix get big enough and go 41?
Maybe not. I don't think he would.
I don't know. It depends on what his like freestyle stuff is. Like, does he want to stay closer to the 55 where he can make that in one day, or what's his freestyle aspirations for Fix? I think would be our thing.
Here's one. How big is Siriano?
Dude, Siriano has disappeared. For as far as I can tell, and I just think he's just doing pull-ups.
I want to know how he gets.
He was not that big.
No, but I think all he does is he's just doing pull-ups and abs right now, and I don't know, dude.
He's at a solid -3% body fat, and I want to know how he does it. If you look at him, everything's just bulged out. And it's do you ever drink water or eat a carb?
Does anybody know? Does he have another year of eligibility? Is he going back to Rutgers for another year?
I think he has another year, and I know when I saw him this fall training at the RTC South, I mean, he's not. I mean, I don't see him being a 41. He's a 33.
So he's a 33er still.
So, yeah, I think he's a 33.
I knew he had another year, but I mean, he did take an Olympic redshirt, correct?
He took an Olympic redshirt, which means he can have another year. But he's a name that I think should be talked about, but for whatever reason seems to be off the radar lately. It seems like people don't know where he is or what he's doing or what's going on.
Yeah.
At the last Beat the Streets, did he wrestle Yanni D at Beat the Streets?
No, I thought he wrestled an Iranian dude or something.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
Or did he? No, that was where he wrestled Joey Cologne, didn't it? Or
Yanni wrestled the Iranian and beat him, which shocked everybody.
Yeah.
And then I think
he did wrestle Cologne.
I think he wrestled Cologne, yeah. So that's one of those things over there. All right, guys. We've been at it for a good little bit. Hamm, tell us about your podcast and where people can reach out and stuff over there. Because I know you finally got it going.
I did Big Hamm and the B, and we just got going. Now we're trying to get interviews with all the kids that have signed scholarships, and we just been busy lately. As you see, I'm very busy at work, so when we get those scheduled, I'll put those on Twitter.
Nice. All right.
Looking forward to it.
But yeah,
Tyler got a question. Does Tyler got a question for him though before he leaves?
Yeah. So we're ending every segment when we get somebody. Tyler just has an off the wall question. You just got to answer it with your first thought on it. We never quite know where he's coming with his question. So
my first thoughts are dangerous, man.
Expect nothing more. All right, Tyler, hit him with it.
So the two that I put in the group chat, I'm really thinking about those might be good.
You can go with both. How about that? We'll go with
okay. The first one's an easy one. It doesn't involve much debate. talking about wings, flats or drums?
I'm a drum guy.
Oh, okay. Now the second one, this one's a little more in detail and a little crazier. Okay, so, all right, you got to put the tinfoil hat on.
Right.
Hypothetically,
Literally.
make contact with an intelligent alien civilization. Do you think it's better for us to reach out and make contact to them and try to communicate, or do we avoid contact to avoid a war?
Considering how 2020 is going, you should avoid contact at all turns. That cannot be good. I mean, if you're saying right now, today, we've made contact.
Not today,
in 2020, we need to
I'd be like,
run.
We got other things we got going on right now.
Because they're going to be much worse than any murder loss. And I think I got a name for this segment. We're going to call it Wings and Aliens. So that's going to be our segment from Tyler. And it may not have to do with.
And he believes in aliens, Hamm. He is a full-fledged believer. He wanted to raise.
I mean, just think
it.
about it. You know, we keep saying what's the next thing that's going to happen. If that were the answer, where's that going to go? It can't go anywhere good.
You want to know where it's going to go? Just because now I'm thinking about it, the alien species that we're going to meet is going to be like a giant humanoid-looking murder hornet. So,
yep.
And then we're all just screwing that's the end of it all.
It'd be like, have y'all seen the movie Prometheus? By chance. It's just going to be like that. You're going to go to talk to them. They're going to look at you and rip your head off. You're like,
yep.
What have we created?
All right, I can't think of a better way to start ending our shows with Wings and Aliens from Tyler and Hamm. I'm glad you made it out here. Any place you want us to put or tag for you on this? And then just like
put it hashtag Hamm's Boys.
Hamm's Boys. All right, we'll put Hamm's Boys, and then I'll find a link to your podcast, and I'll throw that up on there too on one of the things. So
Beautiful.
We could get him in on the singlet challenge.
Which
wait,
one?
I don't have to wear a singlet, right?
No. No, a while. I think it was like a month or so ago. We had a little there. We did a singlet bracket, and I was like, you could probably send him the link, see what he thinks on his.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you the bracket that we had, and then we talked about making up our own bracket and seeing which singlet we want to throw in for like the best one and have our own little mini go at it. So.
Awesome.
All right, guys, appreciate it. And I'll, like I said, tomorrow all this will be up on YouTube and all the other spots. That's all up. So, all right.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye-bye.